Perfect. Can someone yell out where you're from? I want to just get an idea. As you can see, I'm the head of community, so it's exciting for me to see people from all around the world in Helsinki. So just let's hear five cities. London. Shanghai. Amsterdam. Paris. Oh, Moscow, Venezuela, India. Amazing. Helsinki, yes. Thank you guys for coming. Give yourself a round of applause for being here, for being part of this amazing, exciting time. The next part that we're doing is we're inviting few of our innovations from the HundrED 2019 collection. You already saw the 100 names, but we have 10 speakers who have traveled again from all around the world who will be speaking and sharing the work that they're doing in education, addressing all sorts of needs in all sorts of contexts. The interesting part is that they have 3 minutes only. So they have a timer. At 3 minutes, you have to start clapping for them. The cool thing is that you will see the timer on screen. So just feel free to let them know that they're loved, but it's time to move on. All right. Okay. So again, a quick view of where HundrED is and how we need to color the whole world pink. But with that, I will invite Lifta from our lovely country, Finland, on stage for their 3-minute talk.
Thank you. Humankind needs worldly, compassionate, and thoughtful changemakers. And we believe that it is our responsibility as innovators in education to inspire and empower children to inspire and empower children to lift the societies and the workplaces of the future. Multisensory, emotional, and real-life learning experiences are proven to be more memorable and more impactful. And that is exactly what we bring to classrooms with every Lifta story. Good. Lifta is an interactive learning platform that provides dynamic stimulus for deep learning. It's full of immersive real-life stories from around the world where children can look around in 360 degrees, learn about the context that they are exploring through powerful character-led documentaries and multimedia elements. Lifta also provides rich teaching materials that are based on the Finnish national curriculum and helps teachers to nurture empathy, 21st century skills, and active citizenship. So this combination of place, people, and pedagogy is unique to the Lifta experience. Teachers tell us that they have seen an absolute transformation in their students' self-expression, literacy, and social skills, both in mainstream and in special needs schools.
Thank you, Paulina. Paulina and I are filmmakers, and I also used to be a teacher. And we've worked with many storytellers, educators, designers, and technologists to make Lifta what it is today. But our seed of inspiration came way back in 2004 after a trip to a small village in Ethiopia called Al-Ramba. And as filmmakers, we were both so inspired by their story. But for once, we didn't think, let's make a documentary about this, which is what we always used to think. We thought, we want to take people here. And that's what led us on our journey into immersive storytelling. And it took us a number of years to get to our first immersive interactive documentary. And in 2014, it was made, and we started to show it around the world. Now, in our minds, our audience was the Guardian reader, the 18-plus-year-old progressive, educated individual. But when my dad saw it, and I should tell you that he's a lifelong primary school teacher, when he looked at the Al-Ramba experience, he said, "Have you shown this to children?" And we said no. He said, "Please, show this to children." So we did. We took it to a school in Ipswich in England, showed it to 7- and 8-year-olds. We planned a double session with a break in the middle, a 15-minute break. But none of the children went on that break because they didn't want to stop. They were so inspired by what they were learning that they just wanted to carry on. At the end of that session, we asked the children questions to see how much they'd retained. They answered every single question correctly. I looked over to their teachers to see her response, and she was wiping away her tears because she was so inspired by the intelligence, the sensitivity, the articulation. And that's when we decided that this is our audience, teachers and students. And that was when Lifta was born.
Thank you.
Right, that's really hard.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you. Again, Sardar and Paulina are going to be around after, so please make sure you ask them all sorts of questions. But thank you. The next speaker, we're doing 5, so it's back to back. The next speaker is Oliver from Skatistan, all the way from Afghanistan. So please give a round of applause for Oliver.
Hi. In 2007, I traveled to Afghanistan, and I brought my skateboard with me, of course. And what I noticed was that Afghans weren't at the centre of the development processes in the country. And this was a country where half of the population was under the age of 15. And very few people were engaging with young people or asking them what they thought or what they wanted. And I really thought that if there's going to be sustainable solutions in Afghanistan, it's got to be Afghan-led. And so when I was in the street skateboarding and children were not actually giving me my skateboard back, I thought, well, this is young people telling me that they want something, and they're Afghans. I should actually listen to it. And that was the start of skateboarding in Afghanistan. I'm Oliver Perkovic. I'm the Executive Director and founder of Skatistan, which uses skateboarding and creative arts-based education. We have schools two schools in Afghanistan, 2 in Cambodia and 1 in South Africa, and we have 3 different programs. One is Skate and Create, which is 1 hour of skateboarding and 1 hour of arts-based activities. Back to school program that gets children that aren't going to school back into the regular school system, and youth leadership. We've won lots of awards for our work, but that's not why we do it. We're all about impact and getting to the most vulnerable kids and getting them getting them into education. 51% of our students globally are girls. 49% of our staff are women. 65% of our board are women as well. In northern Afghanistan, we're very proud that from the Jogi community that has less than a 1% literacy rate. This is a nomadic tribe in northern Afghanistan. We've got the first girls back into a school system, and they're becoming literate for the first time. Yes. And the 20% of our students live with a disability. And in both Afghanistan and Cambodia, there's a new sign for skateboarding in both Khmer and Afghan sign language. Women's role in civil society in a country like Afghanistan is one of the lowest ever. Yet, skateboarding is the largest sport for girls in Afghanistan now. And almost impossibly, in northern Afghanistan, in Mazar Sharif, at the Skatistan school, there's the highest concentration of female skateboarders anywhere in the world. Everything is possible if you put your mind to it. Thank you.
All right. And Oliver also took a workshop as part of the Helsinki Education Week with girls from Helsinki schools. So that was very exciting. All right. The next speaker, all the way from US, Josh. Please come on stage. Josh from Community Share, everybody.
So we live in a world that's hyper-connected, yet disconnected. And our education system is no different. This became particularly apparent to me about 10 years ago when I was teaching photography to refugee and immigrant youth in Tucson, Arizona, in a high school. And the first semester, we asked our students to photograph, what does it mean to have a home? What does it mean to feel at home? To come from a different home? And when our students came back, almost every single student out of 50 photographed isolation and disconnection from the broader community. So my colleague and I thought, what can we do to help reconnect our students to the broader community. And so over 8 years, we found community partners in our region to work on real-world projects with our students. And that led to working with landscape architects to redesign our campus, to partnering with our senator or congressman, where our students led a congressional briefing how to reform refugee and immigration policy in the United States Senate, and lots of other amazing things. But what I didn't realize is after 8 years of being in that high school, and then leaving that high school, all those relationships just left with me. All that social capital went with me. And so I was both the solution and the problem. So I started to think, would it be possible to create a human library of human books, of knowledge and wisdom that any teacher and any student could tap into in their own city? And with that idea, Community Share was born. Community Share is focused on matching community partners with teachers and students to bring real-world learning alive. And the way we've done that is by building an online platform that some compare to like a Match.com for education that allows teachers to go online and find community partners who are willing to go into schools and bring that real-world learning to students. And over the last few years, we've brought over 7,000 students have connected with community partners in Tucson, Arizona, bringing real-world learning. And so Community Share's focus is really about how do we use technology to get people off of technology, to build relations in person, to get caring adults connected to young people, and how to build the social capital of both teachers and students. Because who you know can shape as much of your future as what you know. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that was even before time, so that's interesting. All right, so 2 more speakers to go. Are you guys having a good time? Good. Round of applause for the 3 speakers. We have 30 seconds. Awesome. All right, so next up is Devin McClurg from BRAC. She's traveled all the way to come and talk about the play-based learning spaces that they have in Bangladesh. Welcome.
"51 weeks ago, I visited the largest refugee camp in the world in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh, for the first time. In August of 2017, violence erupted in Myanmar, and hundreds of thousands of people were forcibly displaced from their homes. They fled across the border into Bangladesh, where more than 700,000 of them are currently residing, seeking safety. 60% of those refugees are children, most of whom never went to school. It's as if a community the size of Washington, D.C. had landed in the backyard of the most densely populated country in the entire world. My name is Devin McClurg, and I work for BRAC, which is one of the largest NGOs in the world, born out of Bangladesh, with a global mission to alleviate poverty in all of its dimensions. And like all of you in the room, we believe that education is the catalyst to true development. In the 30-plus years since we've developed the largest private secular education system in the world, BRAC and its partners like the Lego Foundation continue to innovate to ensure that we're delivering high-quality, low-cost, playful learning opportunities for children in some of the poorest environments in the world. And our mission is no different in Cox's Bazar for the Rohingya refugees. We adapted our play-based learning model for the humanitarian context and launched over 400 playful learning centers for 28,000 kids to support Rohingya children in developing their resilience, social-emotional well-being, and a sense of normalcy, especially for those who were affected by violence and conflict. In addition to improving the children's learning outcomes and their social-emotional skills through play, we also offer wraparound support services to them. This includes psychosocial support and counseling, measures around child protection, and linkages to other BRAC services, including healthcare and nutrition. Most importantly, we think that our learning centers provide the space for kids to be kids. This is critical when they're living in an uncertain environment of a sprawling refugee camp. The centers are jointly led by 2 women, one from the Rohingya community and one from the host community. And the curriculum incorporates culturally relevant components that are playful, that comes from the Rohingya culture, that brings their learning materials, brings their architectural features into the spaces so that it can feel and look like home. When I was back in the camp, walking down a very steep path in oppressive heat, passing by makeshift shelters that are homes, I could hear the learning center before I saw it. The sound of children singing was a welcome contrast to the harsh surroundings. Inside of the center, I took in the scene of these kids proudly singing songs that they had brought from their homes. I watched as a very confident little girl who was probably 8 years old led her classmates in a call and response song over and over and over again until her teacher, laughing, had to encourage her to give another child a chance to do it. A couple hours later, I saw that same little girl carrying a bucket of water, half her size, up a steep path. In the center, she gets to be a child, she gets to be a leader, but when she's outside of those walls, she faces a different reality. To ensure that this generation of Rohingya children doesn't miss their opportunity to learn, BRAC invites all of you to please join us in these efforts to scale up and maximize our efforts. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. All right, and the last speaker before we move on to something different to keep the conversation going is Sucheta Bhatt, all the way from India, from Dream a Dream.
Hello, everyone. Dream a Dream is a non-for-profit. We are based out of Bangalore in India, and we empower young people who come from vulnerable backgrounds to overcome adversity and to flourish in a fast-changing world using a creative life skills approach. We were started in 1999, and we have impacted the lives of over 1 million children in India and Kenya over the years through our life skills approach. So the innovation I would like to share with you today is the Dream Life Skills Assessment Scale. It is an assessment scale that can be used to measure life skills for children who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. It is the only scale in the world that measures life skills for disadvantaged children. Why do I say this is so unique? It's because every other life skills scale assumes that children across the world follow a certain set pattern of development. This is true. But what is also true is that when children have early experiences of adversity, such as neglect, abuse, malnutrition, lack of love and care, exposure to crime and violence, this has an impact on the development of children. This typically shows up as stunted growth and is accompanied by a host of other problems such as poor cognitive skills, poor emotional skills, high levels of anxiety, and other such challenges. In India alone, we have 130 million children who live in poverty and experience adversity from an early stage. 48 million children in India between the age of 1 and 5 have stunted growth. But there's good news. Research has shown that these cognitive deficits are recoverable. When children get access to learning opportunities that help them develop their life skills, they are not only able to overcome adversity, but are also able to build the skills required for the future. So the Dream Life Skills Assessment Scale has been designed keeping two things in mind. One is that children who come from disadvantaged backgrounds are a special group. And two, it can be used to measure the impact of life skills interventions that help children overcome adversity and prepare them for the fast pace of change in the world. At Dream a Dream, we have been using the Life Skills Assessment Scale since 2008. However, it was published as a standardized, peer-reviewed scale in the International Journal of Social Behavior and Personality in 2014. It has been authored by Dr. David Pearson and Dr. Fiona Kennedy, clinical psychologists from the UK, and Vishal Talreja, who's the co-founder of Dream a Dream. The scale can be used by nonprofits, teachers, clinicians, donors, curriculum developers, anybody who's interested in developing life skills in children from disadvantaged backgrounds. The scale today is open source, and we know that it has been downloaded over 3,000 times from the research platform where it is available. It is currently being used in 26 other countries to measure impact. So I have the scale with me as well. If you'd like to know more, do reach out to me. Thank you so much.